Hey everyone, it's Shaily and I hope that you're all doing well today. So I wanted to come on here and give you my thoughts on books that have blown up on TikTok over the last year or two. I will tell you some of the books I'm going to be talking about today though, like I read before TikTok even existed. That's not me trying to flex, it's just me saying like not all these books are recommended to me because of BookTok slash book community on TikTok, but I did notice that they've blown up. And originally I wasn't going to film this video, but then I thought, you know, sometimes it's kind of fun to hop on a trend. So shout out to the first person who made this trend. I don't know who it was, but thank you so much. And without further ado, I'm going to give you my thoughts on books that have blown up on TikTok. The first one we have here, I feel like people have very polarizing views on, and that's We Were Liars by Lockhart. I once heard somebody say that books or stories where people either really love it or really don't are the best kind of stories, because you know, if let's say you're writing a story, you don't want everybody to feel like lukewarm about your story. You want people to feel strongly about it, hopefully strongly love it, right? I'm definitely on the side of strongly love. I think that this book is fantastic, surprising, just really different from a lot of the books that I've read. I read this in 2015 and I still think about it, so let me tell you a little bit of what it's about, though I don't think you should go into it knowing a lot. But if you feel like you need to look up trigger warnings, then absolutely do that. So this is a young adult novel about this family. Their last name is Sinclair, and they're, you know, different cousins, grandparents, parents, all that. And they have this like island. You have a private island off the coast of Massachusetts, and some of them are liars. That's basically all you really need to know going into it. I will say that the first half of the story, I think is what like derails people sometimes and makes them be on the non-love side, because the first half of the story, you just really don't know what's happening and like why the things that you're reading are like important and central to the story. But I personally feel like if you get through the midpoint, then keep going past that, because you will see why everything happened the way it happened. And I'm telling you, you're gonna be mind blown. Like this book, the audiobook was my favorite way to digest it. A woman named Adrienne Myers is the one who narrated it, and I think she just did such a good job. So highly recommend this book, especially in audiobook format, which I found through Audible. Okay, now to talk about something a little bit lighter and more romancy. We have The Love Hypothesis by Hazelwood, and this is a new adult, and it's about a woman in STEM. She's in school studying science, and she starts fake dating a professor in the university who's not her professor, but like a professor there. And something that I really loved about the story, apart from like how sweet the romance is and stuff like that, was the friendship element to it. Like you get to see why the protagonist is such a good friend and why she has such a kind heart and how her intentions are so pure. I just really love seeing that. I love seeing strong female friendships in stories, so that was really wonderful. And I also really like the way that the fake dating was tackled, because as you'll see in the story, like the protagonist definitely like second guesses if this professor even wants to be around her for longer than 10 minutes a week. Like she literally is like, does he even want me to be around? Like as a person, fake dating, not fake dating, like she feels insecure and like it's also just awkward. Like she literally doesn't know this person and she just pretend like she's dating him. Like Hazelwood really, I feel like, went and tried to be realistic about it and look at it like if this happened in real life, like yeah, it would be kind of awkward. So that was done really well. And of course we love reading stories about women in STEM, so if you're into any of those things that I mentioned, I would check it out. The next one is also a contemporary romance and new adult. It's called Every Summer After by Carley. This is a debut novel, and in this one, our protagonist basically has not talked to these brothers in over 10 years. She used to spend her summers next door to them on a lake in Canada, and I just love books that take place lakeside, seaside, beachside, any of those things. Like I'm a huge fan of The Summer I Turned Pretty, for example. So if you're into setting, if setting's important to you and you like that kind of setting, then definitely go for it. Like I said, just keep in mind that it's new adult. So basically this story is told in dual timeline, because it talks about like what it was like when she was growing up next door to them, and also now in the future, now that she's reunited with them after so many years. And there's definitely a romance in here, and like I said, the setting, the vibes are immaculate. Like I literally would recommend this for the setting alone, but I would say that the romance was very sweet. And if you're a fan of The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han or Love in Other Words by Christina, which I will talk about later, then definitely like I would recommend checking this out too, because it'll like scratch that itch. Next up, we have another book with an immaculate setting, but this one is more young adult, and it's called The Summer of Broken Wills by Walther. I will say, like, I devoured this in a day, I devoured this in a day. Like these were really quick reads for me because I just flew through them and I was so engaged and invested. This one is about a girl who goes to Martha's Vineyard every summer, and she skipped last year because of a difficult event that happened in her family, but now she's back, and for a really happy occasion occasion, her cousin is getting married, and so their side of the family and then the to-be, like, new side of the family is also there. So they're all staying at these houses on Martha's Vineyard, and it's so cute and sweet just to, like, read about all the familial relationships, you know, between family members. But also the romance in it is lovely and really sweet, and she and her love interest like form this pact, this alliance to secretly work together as basically almost every single family member plays the game of assassin, which is so cool to read about. Like, you might feel a little iffy at first and be like, oh, they're playing like a game in the book. Okay, like, how is that supposed to work? Like, is that going to be interesting or visual and move the plot forward? Trust me, it is so much fun to read about. Like, it made me want to like go on Martha's Vineyard and play a game of assassin with everybody, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so cute and so fun, and I just love the setting so much. So again, if you're looking for a good setting, if you're looking for a good combo between just fun family times and also if you're looking for, you know, a romance, then definitely I would check this out. I would say this one, there's honestly a couple of these books, like, trigger warning for grief, a little bit in this story, but more in this one, but I don't remember it being too heavy though. But yeah, I am noticing the most of the books in this video are new adult. But I think I'll talk about like one other young adult book. I'll actually do it now. So The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han, I would argue got even more famous because of TikTok. I first read it when I was, I want to say middle school, honestly. Could have been high school. I feel like it was middle school for the first time though, and I just love that trilogy so much. If you don't know what it's about, if you haven't even heard of the TV show adaptation on Amazon Prime, which I also recommend, it's basically about this girl who every single summer she goes to this beach town with her family and another family and their two brothers, and her brother and just like their moms, and they spend their summers together. And she always says, like, her life is measured in summers. Like, she counts down the days, like that's her favorite time of year. She has a crush on the older brother, and just she's maturing, she's getting older, and like romantic things are kind of starting to happen between her and this brother and that brother. So there's a lot of like growing up and relationships, and the vibe, the setting, like, you want to be at Cousins Beach, like, you want to be there. So if you're looking for a book with good romance, truly purely young adult sweet romance, great setting, definitely would recommend that trilogy. Sorry if the angle changed a little, my camera ran out of battery. Hopefully I can finish this video up before the battery dies again. So another new adult book, we have The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I read this when it first came out a couple years ago. There's also a film adaptation on Hulu if you want to check that out. And this one is about two people who work in publishing. They are definitely rivals. They've never really liked each other that much, but they've also had a lot of tension between them, which makes for very good banter, I must say. And now their publishing companies merged and they're up for the same promotion. So definitely a lot of banter, a lot of tension. Like, if that's what you're into, then this is definitely the book for you. I highly recommend it for that. That's honestly the main thing that I remember from this book, because like I said, I read it a couple years ago. That was my takeaway from it. So yeah. Okay, if there's anything to know about me, it's that I have been a Colleen Hoover fan for ever, literally 4 years. And so a lot of her books I have read a really long time ago, because I read them basically when they came out or just a while ago. Again, I'm not trying to flex and be like, I've been a loyal Coho fan before so many of you. Like, I'm not trying to say that at all. Like, I just, you know, I do like saying that I have read her books for a while. Like, I do feel proud of that, and I do think she's a very talented writer. But I'm also trying to say that because I've read some of these a couple years ago, I don't remember them in full detail, but I will still tell you, you know, my thoughts. So first we have November 9 by Colleen Hoover. Definitely been seeing this on TikTok as well as on YouTube. And man, I just remember devouring this. I'm pretty sure the weekend that it came out, or I guess it came out on Tuesday, but that week I think at some point I must have devoured it pretty quickly. This one is about two people. From what I remember, it's about two people who meet on the same day every year on November 9. If you're looking for a book with a crazy twist, definitely some romance, but also just like plot twists that you don't expect. Colleen Hoover is really good at the plot twists. Then I would definitely recommend this book for that. And then as for It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, this one is basically about this girl who falls for this guy. They get together, and then somebody from her past comes up. It's also about her struggling through the current relationships she has with this person. So definitely a very like emotional read, and I don't want to give anything away, but there's something in here that I really enjoyed the way that Colleen tackled it. Just like, I really don't want to give it away if you haven't read it, so I don't really know how much to say. I will say this one's just definitely more emotional, and this one is, I would say, also emotional, honestly, but this has more like plot twist. And what happens in here, it's not like respectful to call it a plot twist. It's just based sort of on a true story about someone that she loves in real life. Do them justice. I really recommend Colleen's books in general. I've read a good chunk of them at this point. I do have to catch up on the last few, unfortunately. But yeah, definitely I'm a co-host stan over here. And then we have Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I also have read The Unhoneymooners, so I'll talk about that next. So yeah, definitely this one I've seen on BookTok, I've seen on BookTube. And this one is about these two people who grew up next door to each other during different parts of the year, became close, became best friends, stopped talking for something like 10 or 11 years. Now they're in each other's lives again, and so you really get to see how they grew up together and how they became close and fell in love, and then how they fell apart, and now how it is with the two of them reuniting again and what happened between them and all of that. I would say definitely also you got a plot twist in here. You got a plot twist in here for sure. So if you're looking for that, definitely read it for that. It's also just like really sweet, cute, romantic, and there are a lot of lines in here that I feel like people quote a lot, like a lot of quotable quotes that people like to highlight and tab. I personally only ever annotated my books in school. I would love to, I guess, learn how people annotate their books, and maybe I'll try my hand at it, like trying to annotate a book vlog or something. We'll see. But yeah, if you're looking for a sweet childhood friends to lovers story, then definitely this is the book for you. It is my favorite trope, so there we go. And then we have The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren as well. I don't believe I have my copy on me, but this one is about two people who basically pretend to be married and go on their honeymoon in Hawaii, because basically they really don't like each other, but their siblings just got married to each other, and the siblings and all the guests at the wedding got food poisoning except for the two protagonists, because they didn't eat whatever food made everyone get food poisoning. So they basically take the honeymoon tickets and they go and pretend to love each other, even though they definitely do not get along. So if you're looking for that good Hawaii setting, if you're looking for fake dating, or I guess fake marriage, I would recommend it for that for sure. As you can see, these have all been hyped up on BookTok, and honestly I love these books. I also realized that I forgot to talk about this Colleen Hoover book. I'm starting to see this a bit on BookTok and BookTube. This is called All Your Perfects. This one is different. This one is about two people who are married and are dealing with difficulties in their marriage. And I don't think I've ever read a book like that before. I will say that there is an aspect in this book where a lot of letters are being written, either by both protagonists or one. It felt very Nicholas Sparks to me. I grew up really loving Nicholas Sparks books. Like I think his stories are great. Like there are many of them I could list off that I love, but that it's a big thing that he does in his books. Like somebody will write a letter to someone, and that's kind of supposed to like clarify a situation. And truth be told, it's not my favorite method of storytelling. So if you're not into the whole letter writing thing, that might irk you a little bit as you read this book. But honestly, I will say it is a fantastic book. I definitely want to reread it. It's a beautiful and important story. So if you're looking for something that's about people working through a relationship rather than getting together, then this is definitely the book for you. I've forgotten to say if these are young adult, new adult. So yeah, basically these are all new adult. So we've got two more left to talk about today. We've got two of Emily Henry's books because I just started reading Book Lovers. Haven't continued with it yet. So we have Beach Read and we have People Meet on Vacation. These are both new adult. This is about two people who used to be in the same creative writing program in college, did not really get along, and now they're staying by chance, even though I don't believe in coincidences, but anyway, they find out that they're staying in lake houses next door to each other, and he's a literary fiction writer, she's a romance fiction writer, but very different genres. They kind of place this bet where like he has to try to write in her genre and she has to try to write in his, sort of like they have to kind of learn from each other, and that's really interesting. I really love the commentary in here about being proud to love reading fiction, women's fiction, romance, chick lit, I mean, whatever you want to call it. I love the genre. I know so many of you do too. I'm so happy that there's such a, not even a renaissance, because it's not like it was ever terribly vibrant, but just this big burst of pride and love that so many of us have for romance. Like I just love this whole thing going on in these online communities where so many of us are talking about how much we love romance stories. Like I just think it's incredible. So I'm like speechless. I'm like, I don't even know what to say, how to phrase it. Anyway, the commentary about that in here is fantastic. Like I would recommend this for that alone. But of course, we love those lakeside vibes. We love reading books about people who are writers. I love that so much. And I remember being completely mesmerized and blown away by this. This was my first Emily Henry book. She has published a couple before. I think they were all young adult, I'm not sure. So this is her first new adult, I think. But I was just completely blown away from this. I devoured it super quickly. Like, just so good. And then you have, this is my favorite Emily Henry book, but I did still enjoy People We Meet on Vacation because I love books that take place abroad. And this one is about a girl who is basically a travel blogger, and so she's always going on trips. Like every year she goes on a trip. She usually takes her best friend along with her on these work trips, and they've never dated. They just have really good chemistry, and now they haven't talked really in 2 years, and she invites him to go on like one last hurrah, one last trip together. It's obviously a little awkward in the beginning, but there's still all that like lingering history or whatever you want to call it, but he has a girlfriend, and so it's just like, but just a lot of tea, a lot of drama. I really just love getting to read about all their past memories. Like there's so many chapters that go back in time and talk about different places that they visited. I just think it's so cool. And I have mentioned this before in a couple videos, and I just put a poll on it in the community tab recently on my YouTube channel page. But I really want to film a video where I recommend books that are set abroad. Abroad would mean not in the US, because I live in America, so that would be what it is. So books set in Europe, things like that. If that's something that you're into, then I would absolutely love to film that kind of video, because I know that I would love to see that kind of video. So definitely, if more people are into it, let me know. But that's all I have for today. Those are my thoughts on some books that have definitely gotten a lot of traction on TikTok as of late, or BookTok, I should say. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I can't believe, like, we literally have surpassed 6,000 subscribers. Like at the beginning of this year, I think I was, or end of last year, something like that, I was at around 800 subscribers, which is already like 800 people is so many people. Like, imagine 800 people standing in this room right now, you know what I mean? But over 6,000 of you, like that's crazy. Like you would not be able to fit into this room. It is so amazing and incredible, and I'm so thankful for each and every one of you, like so incredibly grateful. I love you all so much. If you could please subscribe if you haven't, I would appreciate it. And if you could like the video, it lets me know that you like my videos, you like this kind of content, and it helps me out. It helps get the word out about my channel more, which I would just so appreciate. Like, why not continue to grow our, you know, booktube family, if you will. Make sure to comment down below if there are any books I mentioned in this video that you've read. Make sure not to put any spoilers in the comments, of course. And if you want, you can find me on social media. I'll leave my Instagram and my Twitter and my Goodreads links down below in the description. So definitely check those out if you want to. And thank you so much again, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye!